Having spotted the apparatus appropriately, firefighter 1 gets off the truck and after donning his PPE, throws a progressive hose pack and makes his way towards the red line. In the meantime, the operator starts the pump, opens the valve to the red line, and helps firefighter 1 with the red line. At this point, the nozzleman begins establishing an anchor point and working the flank of the fire. Because our brush trucks have Phoenix thread, we have to adapt them to National Hose. We use this adapter to do so, and whenever possible, it's a good practice to put a gated Y onto your discharge in case we need to send another set of progressive hose packs up the opposite flank to actually pinch off the fire. At this point, we got a third firefighter. He'll throw a progressive hose pack, make his way to the back of the pump after grabbing a tool. The operator will assist him and connect his hose pack to the gated Y at the discharge. Now the purpose of the red line here is to always have a protection line as you're advancing and working up the flank. Remember, these hose packs deploy dry, so you will not have water. After 100 feet, you'll feel a tug on the pack. That's the gated Y on the nozzle at the end of your hose lay. At this point, you're going to take the hose pack off, signal back to the previous gated Y, or in this case, the pump panel for water, and then you're going to assist the nozzleman in connecting his hose pack to your gated Y. Just like we do on the fire ground, we want supply under discharge. Now it's important to remember here, we need somebody to stay at that gated Y until the nozzleman is ready to charge this next progressive hose pack. In this scenario, the operator threw the third hose pack and made his way up to the nozzleman, and will assist the nozzleman again, signaling for water to the gated Y behind you. And in this evolution, although you can't see it, the operator gave the nozzleman his progressive hose pack and waited at that gated Y as the nozzleman advanced this last pack.
Yep.
And then add back over here.
The beautiful thing about these progressive hose lays is each lateral is still active. If we have the manpower, we can bump guys back and they can mop up if needed or address any spots that extend outside of our wet line. So as you can see, each one of these hose packs has 100 feet of trunk line and 100 feet of lateral. So what that means is after deploying 3 progressive hose packs, we have a maximum reach of 400 feet.
So as far as loading the packs up, first we want to make sure we have all of our inventory in place. Beginning with an 1.5" adapter that is 1.5" female, Phoenix thread or PCT thread. that adapts to an 1.5-inch male NH thread, national hose. We also have a roll of flagging. We have an 1.5-inch gated Y. This picture shows the new ones that we'll be getting and trying to load all our new packs with the stubby ears on it. We also have an 1.5-inch female to a 1-inch male reducer that is NH thread to NPSH thread. We have a roll of 1.5-inch hose, 100 feet in length. We have a roll of 1-inch hose, 100 feet in length. And lastly, we have a 1-inch barrel nozzle. Some of the other inventory that we may see, and they are all completely interchangeable, is the 1.5-inch gated Y with the longer dog ears, and also the Forester nozzle that Adam referenced earlier in the slideshow. So we'll begin with stretching out both lengths of hose. We want to make sure that we have enough room to get them out flat, laid on the ground, and we're going to basically just donut roll both of the lengths of hose. So to begin with the 1.5-inch trunk line, check your gaskets. Always checking your gaskets, make sure they're intact, not cracked or missing. And like we would with a broken piece of hose, we want to start with the female end. Roll that starting in the middle and just keep it as tight as we can. The process here is twofold. We want to make sure we get all of the air and water out of the hose and have it as compact as possible before we start to throw it in the pack.
All right. So that one's going to stay as it is.
So then we'll start rolling our 1-inch line. Again, laying it out flat. We're going to lay it straight and then bring the male back to the female end and leave it short approximately 3 feet, 2.5 to 3 feet. The male end we want on top of the hose, and we can use 2 people here to make sure that it's all lined up with each other. So once it's sitting on top, start at the fold end of the line and begin donut rolling it together. Again, keeping it as tight as possible, pressing out as much air as we can. The male end on the top, we leave it short because by the time we get to the end of the roll, we want to have the 2 ends of the hose as close to each other as possible. So we want to make sure that we lay our hose out with the male end of the 1.5-inch hose towards the inside, and then the nozzle and female end of the 1-inch towards the inside, as you see here in the photo. We're going to take a short piece of flagging, tie it as tight as we possibly can, right at the back of the nozzle, around both sections of hose. The purpose here is to make sure that the nozzle stays intact with the trunk line as the pack is deploying the hose. So as we begin to tie the nozzle to the trunk line, we want to make sure that whether you're using the barrel nozzle or the Forester nozzle, we start approximately 1 inch behind the gated Y. So in the scenario with the gated Y with the longer dog ears, we want to make sure we put it into the pack so that the dog ears are facing away from the person wearing the pack's back. So they're not poking them in the back. You can stuff it into that right corner of the pack and begin your folds there. If we are loading a pack with the short-eared Y, we just want to make sure that you shove it into the right corner of the pack, just like we did with the long-eared gated Y. We'll start feeding the hose in an accordion style into the pack. For the first few folds of the pack, you're going to probably have to push it down past the ears of the Y and get it into all the corners as best as possible. The best way we found out is to use 2 widths of accordion load. That'll make the pack as narrow as possible, and you'll still have plenty of room to get to the end of the pack.
That works good. If you just do a side.
So at approximately 25 feet of length of hose, you want to go ahead and take another small piece of flagging and tie it as tight as possible around both sections of the 1.5" and the 1" hose. The 1" hose will still be too deep. Working your way towards the end of the 1" line, we want to make sure that we tie the fold in the 1" line to the 1.5" trunk line and just make a double wrap on that. Again, the purpose here is to make sure that the hose stays intact as we're deploying the pack. So we want to finish off, just again, accordion load the single portion of the 1.5" trunk line and pack it into the pack as good as we can, all the way to the end of the female end of the 1.5". Once you get the pack fully loaded, go ahead and secure both straps. We want to make sure we have a roll of flagging. We have the 1.5" to 1.5" adapter. And we are going to make a laminated inventory sheet to put in there as well.
One down.
Boom.
Perfect.